Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight. What was a lot colder this morning. I was going to mention that, but I feel like it warmed up. I am Patrick Brett, the Future Plans Counselor at North Penn High School. You can finally put a face to the name of the person who's been bombarding you with emails. To my left here is Mrs. Kolb. She is the back half of the alphabet in the junior home office of F40. Mrs. Flacco will be here shortly. She is the front half of the alphabet, well, front third, we'll call it, of the alphabet in F40. And Mrs. Turner will not be here. She's the middle of the alphabet. She's out here for personal reasons. Also with us tonight, we have Dr. Tamara Jenkins, assistant principal, and making her way down is also another assistant principal, Miss Amy Lynn, who is probably one of the longest tenured admin in this building, if not the longest tenured admin in the building, yes. So your office is very well versed in working with students and working through this process. What we're going to talk about tonight is Smart Futures, which is our K through 12 readiness program, the process of how to get through that, the program itself, how you work through it to create and find a career, how to build schools if the college is your route, and then how you'll use that in the fall as a management program for your applications, making sure that all your documents, a transcript, letters of recommendation, et cetera, get sent to your schools. We'll talk about what you need to be doing now in the summer and the beginning of next year, standardized tests, should you take them, should you send them, et cetera, your statistics, what they look like, what they mean, what goes to colleges, what doesn't, and then also our resources. Before I go any further, you do not need to record this or take any pictures. It is being taped by NPTV. Recorded, I'm showing my age with taped. It will be made available by the end of the week on both the Class of 2026 Canvas page as well as North Penn Television YouTube channel. Let's get right into it. So this is Smart Futures, the icon, which is available to all students on their desktop. They can type it into the top in the search bar, or they can go down to this logo, which is, again, Smart Futures. This is a K through 12 career readiness program that hopefully within the next 5 to 7 years, kids will be extremely well-versed because they will have it from elementary school all the way up through North Penn High School. When you log into Smart Futures, which you would just click on that and it works through ClassLink. There we go. This will be the first page, the home page. Obviously, it'll say your name, not my name, and you'll be able to navigate through there. On the left-hand side are where is the toolbar and where you'll go. I'm going to start with the activities and kind of go down the list, but skip some other things. These are the career assessments, interest inventories, and the pieces that you want to get through to help you build your background of finding out what career you want to take or what career you want to look into or careers you want to look into. This is not the be-all, end-all, okay? This is not a 110% accurate piece. This is a tool, a resource that students use, go through the questionnaires, go through the assessments, go through the inventories, and then come to the Future Plan Center. Talk to myself and the two gentlemen I'll mention in a couple minutes who are also in the Future Plan Center to help guide you, as well as talking to your counselor to help guide you towards a career you might be interested in. And then let's get to that career the cheapest, quickest way possible. Okay, I'm also a parent. I know that in 7 years I'm going to be talking to my kids about this stuff, and we're going to try to get there the quickest, most affordable way possible because college is unbelievably priced, and it's not getting any cheaper. So this is the first page. This is where kids would go to create their background, start doing these assessments. What I recommend is you take an assessment. It comes up with everything that it comes up with, what careers are available, what your interests are, what your personality looks like, the I, J, F, C, and then you come down to the Future Plan Center and we talk about it, okay? I know this is very tiny, I apologize, but these are the categories that are available for searching, so career clusters, education level, interest, and then as I mentioned, the personality types. This is how you would search for colleges. And again, I apologize, it's very tiny, but you can go through the program, what they're looking for, how many years of a college, is it public, private, large city, small city, large town, how many miles from the great Lansdale, Pennsylvania, percentage accepted. Now this is kind of, I try to stay away from this area because that's a huge gap. There's a big gap between 0 and 25, 25 to 50, et cetera. So you can put no preference for that. Once you do that, you can get a list of schools. And you can go through those schools. You can click on every school and see about it. You can click the heart, which would turn red, and then that goes into your list, which will then be added to, when you get back here in August of senior year, it gets added into your list of colleges you're going to apply to. If you click on a school, this is the information that will come up. The amount of students, the highest degree, classification, is it public or private, the in-state or out-of-state tuition, not room and board. Okay, they don't have the room and board in here, they just have the tuition for the education. Some other statistics are down here: average annual cost, graduation rate, and salary after attending. Again, that's average, it's not everybody. And again, there's a little more of a bar graph to see exactly what they're looking for, and you can click on some stuff. This is what is available to you and your child in this program. You can go through each one of them. I chose to go through the SAT scores and the ACT, and this is where the average is, the range. So 580 to 660 on the SAT for critical reading for Pitt. So I'm gonna pause there and talk about that for a second. Since COVID, almost every school, except for one that I know of, which is Yale, is test optional for the majority of their university. There are some programs that need for you to report a test score. One of those programs is Pitt Nursing. The other one is a program, and other programs like this. Temple University has what's called a BSMD program. It's an accelerated 7-year Bachelor of Science with a medical degree. Extremely hard to get into, extremely competitive. They need SAT scores for programs like that. But the majority of schools are test optional, meaning if I don't get the score I want, or my score isn't as high as what their average is, I don't need to send it. But since people are not sending their scores, this average is higher than it usually is. It's a skewed stat. So don't really look at these as far as should I send, should I not send. Come and talk to me. Talk to your counselors. We have college reps come in all the time. They tell us what really is the score that they're looking for specific programs as well. All right. Again, we'll go back to this page because I want to show you where it goes from here. So if you were to click the heart on the University of Pittsburgh, now it's here in my list of schools. So this is what I've just talked about is the main part of Smart Futures. Now we're going to go into what would be called eDocs, which is what you will use next year when you come back for the what schools you're applying to, letters of recommendation, requesting a transcript, college visits, all that good stuff. So this is what it'll look like for you. Obviously, there's nothing in here in the sense of actual data, but we have School 1, School 2, School 3 coming on these dates. Did you or did you not sign the waivers? Waivers in here are necessary for us to be able to send documents. So there's a waiver that you'll hear again in the fall. It's called the FERPA waiver, F-E-R-P-A. Besides it being the worst acronym of all time, what it stands for is Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. What it means is that you have, as a student and a parent, you have access to all of your educational documents from the time you started school, kindergarten, till today, and we have a certain amount of days to give it to you if you say that. What the waiver will ask is, do you waive your right to see your letters of recommendation? And I'll get further into this down the road, but I'm going to recommend, I can't tell you what to do, I'm going to recommend you say yes, because if you're asking someone to write a letter of recommendation, you're trusting them to talk about you in a good light to send to the school. If you say no, the recommender sees that you say no, and they have the right to say, hey, no thanks. Because if I'm writing a letter of recommendation, I might say, and I don't teach, but I never taught in the classroom, but I might say, you know, this student started out really slow, really didn't grasp the material, but they really worked hard to do a great job to earn a higher grade than they had in the beginning of the class. That's 100% accurate, but that might not be what you want to read. They're speaking to you in your resilience and your persistence to get a good grade, but that might not be what you want to read, so that's why we protect that. The other thing is that colleges see whether or not you waive your right. And if a college sees it, that you didn't waive your right, what they're going to think is why. Why did that student not waive not waive their right? Did they manipulate the letter of rec in one way or another? Did they go in and say, hey, could you change this line to this? So that's another reason why you have to waive your right. How many letters of rec, how many transcripts were sent, etc. This is essentially what it's going to look like for you. We want to make sure that you see it. We want to make sure that in August, when you get this, you're not going in here blind. But these are the big things that are extremely important when you are applying to school. The recommendation requests, which we'll talk about later, are extremely important. You'll be able to see the letter, whether or not it was received, whether the person declined it, which rarely ever happens. And the one down here said the date it was requested on, which you'll see here. Right there. This is just a zoomed in view, and this is the mobile view. So there's an app that will be available to our students to be able to use it on their phone. It'll probably be much easier on a Chromebook, and I'll tell you to get your Chromebook out when you get in my office, but there is an app available. There we go. This is what the letters of recommendation request will look like. So you'll be able to request teachers and counselors. It's very, very simple. Please go back. You'll start to click in the teacher's name up here, or type it in, like BRETT, and my name will populate. You click there, a little message. Hey, thanks so much. Please let me know if you need anything. My resume is available upon request. My resume is in Smart Futures, that kind of stuff. External recommendations. An employer, a clergy member, you went to a summer program and there's a professor that you worked with, something along those lines. Very simple. You just request them in here. They get an email. They submit the form, and now you have it to be able to be sent to colleges. And then this is what it'll look like once you review a request. And then again, it'll show letter received, letter request sent, etc. That is what we have for Smart Futures for you all. I recommend getting into the first part we talked about, starting to do the career assessments, popping down the Future Plan Center during night zone, lunch, or lunch study. Please don't come down to the Future Plan Center if you're in class. Even if you say, it's okay, we're not doing anything, because you're doing stuff, all right? Mrs. Brett works in the math department. She's a math teacher here. If you have her and you leave her class to come to me, now I'm in trouble. Please don't do that, all right? So after graduation, your options. You can go to a certification program through North Monco Technical Career Center. They have night programs. There might be some of our students who are over at North Monco Technical Career Center. Great opportunities. Trades, right now that's where the money is. I got friends who are working in plumbing and electricians and all that kind of stuff. Man, those guys are doing they're working their tails off. It's very labor intensive, but they are killing it when it comes to the finances. They don't have, and if you go in right from high school, there's no debt, right? You might have to pay for your tools and such, but I mean, you're talking almost 40 years old, and I'm still paying off student loans. And there might be some parents in here who are doing the same thing. So if you are thinking about going into the trades, please don't think you have to go to college. Please don't think that you have to because your friends are doing it. You need that college experience. you can still go up on the weekends to visit your friends at Penn State, trust me. All right? If you have an interest in that kind of stuff, we have in the future plans, and I talked about 2 other gentlemen. First guy is Mr. Fry. All right, Mr. Fry runs a program called the Community Hosted Internship Program, also known as CHIP. What his program is outside of the school day. So summer, after school, weekends. He allows students to go get an internship. It could be paid, it could be unpaid, it could be your job. He brings people in. Next week we have a finance person coming in from Univest. We had a real estate agent come in last week. And we have IT Landis, which is commercial plumbing, electrical construction, and I think there's another one, I apologize, coming in a couple weeks. These are the things that if students want to listen to what else is out there besides you have to go to college, you have to go to college, you have to go to college, stop into the Future Plan Center and talk to Mr. Fry. The other gentleman is Mr. McLarnon. Periods 1 through 4, he's a business teacher. Most days, periods 5 through 8, he is the career work study coordinator. And that is in the school day. So through course selection, you might have seen that. It's a program that allows students to go out into the workforce or into the world, in the real world, I call it, and get experience. And from both programs, one of two things is gonna happen. One, this is exactly what I wanted to do. This is awesome. It just furthered my passion. All right, let's go. Let's get there the quickest, most affordable way possible. Or the second, which is just as helpful, that was awful. That was the worst thing I ever did, and I'm so glad I did it now, so I didn't pay money to go do it in college. The number one thing that happens to is physical therapy. Kids think, oh, I got hurt playing a sport. My physical therapist was awesome. I want to go work with high school athletes or college athletes and do that. And then they get there, and they're working with my parents. I'm not kidding. And the kids come back and like, I didn't get to work with any high school kids. And yeah, we know. We're glad you did it. Now go find something else you want to do. Here's all this stuff we have for you. Some other options. On-job training or military. We have military recruiters coming in once a month in the cafeteria. We will host our First Responder and Military Day in May, which brings in all the local firefighters, the ambulance corps, as well as our local military recruiters to bring in some of the rigs and some of the cool things that they offer. On-the-job training, I was just talking to someone about this the other day. We have, besides North Monco, we have tons of different opportunities for you through the CHIP program we didn't have years ago, like IT Landis, like other programs that will come in and say, hey, you don't have to go to school. Come work for us. We'll start you at this wage. We'll train you from day one. You don't have to have any experience, and we'll get you to master this, master that in 3 to 4 years. So these opportunities are there for you. You can go to a trade school, that's great. The apprentice program, kind of what I just talked about. The 2-year college, community college or JUCO, junior college. I mentioned earlier I got 3 kids. We live around the corner from Monco. I can essentially see it from my 3rd-story window. And every time we drive by, I go, hey guys, this is where you're going to school. And it's part joking, but also serious because of how expensive college is right now, the credits that can transfer, and the fact that we're so close that, I wouldn't mind dealing with them for another 2 years. We'll see. The 4-year programs in Monco. Monco has partnerships with over 38 different universities locally that you could do 2 years at Monco and then transfer to those schools and get all your credits to go. Or they have 6 schools that you could stay at Monco and get credit for the rest of your 2 years at a reduced rate while never having to leave Montgomery County Community College campus. That might not be for everyone because you want that college experience, but if you're trying to save as much money as possible, there are opportunities. Obviously, the 4-year bachelor's degree, which is traditional 4-year college, there are more schools than I could even imagine. Philadelphia is one of the most oversaturated locations for universities, so if you're looking to stay close, you have plenty of opportunities. And then the 2+2 or 3+2 programs, the master's built in that I mentioned of the Temple program with the BSMD program, or DeSales has a 3+2 PA program, physician's assistance program. So those are available as well if that's something you're looking at as well. I've been talking for a long time. I'm going to turn it over to a different voice so you don't get annoyed by me any more than you already are. Ms. Caracolb is going to talk about the next part, the next steps.
Sorry. That's okay. Thanks, Mr. Brett. Hi, everyone. Okay, so there we go. You know how to work that at first. So as you're looking at schools and colleges and universities, we want you to put these factors into consideration, right? So are you looking to stay local? Would you like to go far? The size of the school, that really matters, right? There's some schools out there that are like 5 times bigger than North Penn. There's some that are extremely smaller than North Penn. So what do you think? Would you prefer a bigger school, smaller school? Academics and major, right? So this is kind of an obvious one, but you want to make sure that the schools that you're looking into have the majors that you're interested in. How competitive is the school? Is it super competitive and you don't think that your grades you could get in, or do you feel like you could fall within the grade levels that they're looking for? The X factors, what makes it special? What makes it stand out to you? And like Mr. Brett said earlier, the costs, right? So that's something that you definitely want to put in consideration. There are scholarships and financial aid opportunities out there, but cost is definitely important. How colleges choose you. So as a school receives your application, they're going to be looking at your performance, your GPA, SAT scores, ACT scores, the rigor of your high school courses. So were you in AP classes, 5.0 classes? They want to see the courses that you took, along with, once again, those SAT scores and your personal statement essays. So when you apply to schools, Ms. Flacco is going to talk about this, you're going to be submitting your essays. They want to hear your story. They want to learn about you through those essays and get a better idea of what you can bring to their college or university. And then also recommendation letters, they're going to review them, along with your activities, volunteer opportunities that you completed, your interest, your work experience. For those of you who have not completed any volunteer opportunities yet, this summer is a great time to do that because you can still put that on your application when you apply in the fall. Also, with work that you do this summer, if you get a side job during the summer, you can put all that in there. And then lastly, interviews. So when we submit your transcripts at North Penn to the colleges and universities, the schools are going to look at your GPA and your final grades from grade 9 through 11. So in the fall, they'll have the grades for freshman, sophomore, junior year, and then your GPA through junior year too. But during senior year, we will submit those grades and where your GPA is to the schools, so they will have an idea of how you did senior year. So senior year is sometimes a little bit more easier, but we do recommend that you put the effort in and you show the schools that you didn't slack off and you're still very serious about your academics. Okay, so sorry, this is super small, but you will see here what our transcript looks like. Our transcripts now can be found on Infinite Campus under the backpack. If you go into, I believe the parent portal has it too, right? The parent portal, and under your student's backpack, you can pull their transcript to see their grades and also GPA. Let me see if I can get the little laser to work here. Nope, okay, I tried. What did I do? Okay, how do you do the laser on here? Top button. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we have started to include languages from 8th grade. So some of you may want to include on your applications that you took 3 years of Spanish, but you took your first year during 8th grade. Now when we submit your transcript, you'll see that we include at the very top that course that you took with the final grade. And then below that, grade 9, 10, 11, 12, and then on the bottom corner of the of the transcript, you'll see the GPA. As you're pulling these transcripts this year, the GPA that you're gonna see is your GPA from last year, okay? So your grades aren't gonna be factored in to that GPA for this year until this summer after the final report card. So if you feel like your GPA should be a little bit higher, you're doing really well this year, it could be very true, and you'll see that when you get your final report card and when your transcript gets updated during the summer break. All right, so GPA, how is it calculated? So it's based off of your 5 majors. So when schools receive your applications, like I said earlier, they're going to look at your GPA from 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th grade. The way that it's calculated is pretty complex. So if you want details on how the math behind it works out, you can check out our course selection general information packet, and it's on page 5 there. I would probably bore you if I went through the actual mathematics behind it. Okay, so junior year. This year, all year, you want to be working on your grades, right? And continue with the activities, like I said earlier, by joining clubs, volunteer opportunities, taking advantage of all that, exploring smart futures, like Mr. Brett said, especially now that you have an idea of how to navigate through the site, and visiting college campuses. All of that is very important. You already took the PSAT, so that's first semester, what we recommend for you to do. And then another important part of this year is really thinking about, are the courses that you're taking sparking any interest? So are you taking a business course that you love? Is that something you might want to pursue when you're in college? Or like Mr. Brett said earlier, it's just as beneficial to realize that it's something that you absolutely hate and you don't want to pursue. So really think about your elective courses, and if there's anything that is sparking your interest, that it's a field that you could possibly pursue in college. Second semester, course selection right now is going on for senior year, so we're working on that. College visits. So we highly recommend visiting colleges while they're up and running, right? So going to a school on a Saturday morning that maybe it's like a commuter school that students aren't really at, you're not going to get the feel of what the school is really like. So we recommend that you go there when students are out, classes are going on. This year, our spring break isn't falling on the same majority. I can't promise every school, but majority colleges aren't going to be on spring break at that same time. So it's a really good time to go and see it. I always recommend go to the cafeteria, go to the different student areas that students are like involved in activities, and you can get a good idea of what the feel and the culture is behind the school. Another thing you're going to want to be doing this semester, second semester, is taking the SAT and ACT for anyone that's interested in doing that. And then we do have here that the college fair at Villanova is on May 21st at 6 o'clock from 6 to 8:30. So if you want to check that out, it would be a really good idea to go visit see the colleges and the reps and talk to them. Make sure during this time and when you're visiting colleges and going to fairs that you're giving these reps your names, right? You want them to see that you're interested in their schools. Because when you go to apply, if they look back and they're like, we've never heard from this student before, you're going to have a less likely chance of getting in than someone who has really shown a strong interest. And then the last thing we recommend for junior year is by the end of this year, you're going to want to ask for those recommendation letters from your teachers and counselors. Try to ask for them in person. Can always follow up with an email, but we all really recommend when students approach us and ask us for those letters. And some teachers will say that they're going to have them done by the end of this year. Some are going to say, follow up with me in the fall, but it's just good to get ahead of that. All right, standardized testing. Like Mr. Brett said, not every school requires standardized testing now, and that's great for some of you, right? But for those of you who do want to take the SAT, they will be offering it March 8th, May 3rd, and June 7th. So you can visit College Board's website to see the registration deadlines for all of those dates. As you receive your scores, you're going to want to submit them through College Board to the schools that you're applying to in the fall. And then lastly here, we just have for SAT and ACT preparations, that you will want to review your PSAT results. So as you go into College Board, you're going to be able to click into your PSAT results and get an idea of what you really struggled with and what you did well in. And then they'll allow you to go through that and take mini practice tests within that area to help you for when you take the SAT. Khan Academy is great. And then we do have ACT and ACT courses that we could recommend through other outside organizations and personal tutors. All right, now I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Flacco.
Hi, good evening. Ooh, sorry. It's this way, right? Okay. So I just want to preface this with I forgot my glasses. I don't know how many of you use your readers for this exact reason. So if you do see me squinting, I just want to let you know why. So I feel like this slide has a lot of really good information. So I want to have you guys take a minute to really look over it as I kind of read it for you. So when you look at the summer for senior year, you want to go ahead and you want to kind of understand certain terms and the physical work that's associated with it. So if you look, top button, right here. So we recommend continue to visit the campuses. We recommend that you visit the campuses, and it will be an excused absence while school is in session. Because if you go when school is not in session, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to really gauge an understanding of what college life is like there, how busy they are, what kind of the movement is around. We also say to begin working on applications. So we're looking for the common application to really begin in August when you come, I guess, back before senior year. And that's the application that you'll be using. The common app, which is collegeapp.com. Again, the demographic is info, the essay info. Now, we are going to have a boot camp that's going to begin about 2 weeks before school starts. And really, that's a time for students to come in and take some time to work on their essays. It's not something where we're there to really kind of help them write it, but if you're at home and you might have a little bit difficulty concentrating, which is a lot of us do, this will be a time for you guys to come in, take some time, get your essays in a quiet location. And I believe it's a week long, or if it's 2 weeks, I believe it's a week-long program. Okay, so again, knowing the North Penn process and being aware of deadlines. So you're going to want to make sure that you're aware of deadlines of, when everything is due for that college. If you're going to have any kind of early decision, you want to make sure that you have the deadlines, as well as, like I said, the application jumpstart, which is going to be at the end of August. So again, understanding then the terms, early decision, early action, regular decision, rolling decision, all of these are pretty specific, and you want to go ahead and get some understanding of exactly what they mean, and that's why we're here. So if there are questions that students have, understanding what those terms are, that's when they can come to us and we can help explain a little bit further. Like I said, the common application and the FAFSA, the financial aid application, which opens October 1st, and the SVAR, that's a self-report student academic record, that they want to go ahead and make sure that is submitted. Okay, so here again is what I was talking about with the college application. So the Common App, you'll go ahead and access that through commonapp.com. And what it is this will have everything that is needed for students for their application and what they'll be using to apply to colleges. Ooh. Okay. Did I do this one right? Is this one correct? Okay. And here we are, the fall before your senior year. So that really will be here before you know it. We're already in the third marking period. So this is really what you want to be looking at. As Ms. Kolb said, you also want to make sure that you have completed your SAT and your ACT if you would like to take it again. Smart Futures and the application process, the letters of recommendation, as Mr. Brett was talking about, that you want to make sure that you had that completed, that you've already previously asked your teacher or asked who's going to help you with the recommendation prior than in the fall when they'll probably be pretty inundated. You want to go ahead and get your applications to college. We also have a college application night, which is September 10th, which will be coming up as well. And then financial aid night, the NCAA night, both of them we're unsure exactly of the dates, but we will have those nights available for you guys. And we also have the PACAC College Fair, which looks like we don't have an exact date, but that will be in October of 2025.
All right, as we wrap this up, we do have at North Bend High School a bunch of student athletes who wish to play at the next level. If that's the case, Division I, Division II are making sure that you are academically eligible. If you are a student athlete, you have to enroll in what is called the NCAA Eligibility Center, and I will have to send your transcripts. If that's something you do, it's $105. The NCAA says they're a nonprofit. They're not accurate in that saying. But please make sure that you let me know after you register so I can submit your transcript to the NCAA Eligibility Center, because they need to make sure that you've met the 16 core course requirement as well as the minimum GPA requirement. Division I is a 2.3, Division II is a 2.2. The resources, maybe, there we go. All right, so the resources, and I forgot my glasses as well, so I can't see that. Future Plan Center, as I mentioned, is K31 for now. There is a renovation starting next year, and I believe we will still be in K31 for the entire school year, but that could change. We don't know yet. I'm still waiting to hear about that. So right now we're in K31. As I mentioned, students, night zone, your lunch, and your lunch study are great times for you to come down to the Future Plan Center. Do not come down during class. Family meetings by appointment after school. I am fairly certain that will be Tuesdays. As of right now, what I'm thinking of my own children's athletic and activity schedule after school. Tuesdays, 2:15, 3:15, or 4:15 availability. If that's something you want to do, you want to meet with me as a family, meaning your child and you will meet with me after school, again, 2:15, 3:15, or 4:15. Shoot me an email. We'll get something scheduled. This way we can talk about specific questions about your child. Smart Futures, as I mentioned. The Class of 2026 Canvas page is a great resource. The counselors are doing a great job, and the administration is doing a great job adding stuff to that and making sure that you guys are up to date. Our college fair and college representatives at North Bend High School. The current program that seniors are using and seniors have used for the past several years is called SCORE. It's spelled SCOIR, but it's pronounced SCORE. There are colleges visiting through that, and there's a bunch of colleges that have requested for this spring. The junior class doesn't have access to that. I am working on making sure that it's somehow in Canvas so that you guys can schedule, so students can schedule to see these colleges so they can show their demonstrated interest, so that if they're applying and they're going up against somebody else, they've shown that they are interested in that school. Upcoming college and career events, we mentioned that there's one at Villanova on, what did I say, May 21st, I think we said. That's a great time to go down and see some schools. Villanova would probably, it's a big name school, probably draw a bunch of schools, from not just locally, but also nationally. And then we will host the same fair that we host every year in the gyms in October. I'm still waiting on a date. I'm not going to tell you what I think the date's going to be, but I'm hopeful that it's the date that we talked about. Early October, let's just say that. So, and then obviously college admissions offices and websites. Talk to us. Talk to the representatives. Ask questions. We can't help you if you don't ask. There are 1,000, and I believe it's like 47 in the class. I want to say that's where the number is. 1,047 is what I saw the other day. Maybe a little higher, maybe 157. I can't remember the exact number. Not every single one of those students is going to apply to college, but our job is to help every single one of those students have a plan for when they graduate. But we can't track you all down. It's nearly impossible for all of us to track you all down to say, what is your plan to graduate? Especially when there's only one person who's the Future Plans counselor, and 3 counselors have over 350 kids in their caseload. Please come to us, find us, go to F40. If you don't know where it is, you should know where it is. Find us, Future Plan Center, K31. Come down, talk to myself, Mr. Fry, Mr. McLaurin, and ask questions. It's the only way we can help you, all right? I appreciate y'all coming out. Hopefully everyone has a great week. There's no snow anymore, unfortunately, no asynchronous day, but if you have questions specific to your child, or if the students have questions, please feel free to come up. We're going to cut the recording, and I hope everyone has a great night and gets a safe trip home.